Living Light Recreational Vehicles presents Think Outside the Box, Intentional Diversification. Being intentional about diversifying your offerings at your dealership in order to take advantage of the opportunities that today's market is offering RV dealers who are willing to think outside of the box. I'm going to start out with a quote from one of the most creative minds of our time, Steve Jobs. I don't think it's good that we're perceived as different. I think it's important we're perceived as much better. If being different is essential to doing that, then we have to do that. But if we could be much better without being different, that'd be fine with me. I want to be much better. I don't care about being different, but we'll have to be different in some ways to be much better. I like how he clarifies his desire to be much better and not just different. Because I think we all know that just being different is typically not a route to being successful in life or business. It's about being better, and as Jobs says, much better. And to be much better in business, you often have to think outside of the box. I love this photo because it shows what businesses look like that refuse to look around and see all of the opportunities that exist out there. And the RV industry has had this problem for way too long. To be much better, not just survive, but to thrive, you often have to take risks. A little more than a decade ago, in the midst of an industry that was humming along just fine by most accounts, Living Light dared to stop and ask a question. Why is it the same old every year in the RV industry? Where can we find new customers? Are there other demographics of buyers that we can start to reach out to and pull into our RV dealerships? Now, why would we ask that? Because the numbers tell us that we should. Of the approximately 3.2 million potential RV buyers this year that we attract and who shop in our industry, we will build and sell about a tenth of that, or 340,000 recreational vehicles. 340,000 sounds like a big number, but when you consider the demographic statistics that we are about to share with you, you will discover that it really isn't. First of all, of those 340,000 RVs sold, more than 85% of them are towables. Towables dominate our industry sales. Motorized has made a nice comeback, but towables still rule the day. And what do the vast majority of these towables that our industry builds have in common? They require a large truck or big SUV to tow them. So one could surmise that trucks and big SUVs dictate or drive the success of our industry. So, a little more than a decade ago, Living Light asked, what is missing from this picture? The answer was easy. Cars. Crossovers. The fastest growing segment of the automotive industry the last 3 years. Minivans. People have questioned the continued relevance of the minivan for years, with medium-sized SUVs and larger crossovers rolling out, but it continues to thrive. Look at this recent article from Automotive News. The minivan has been alternately pronounced dead and revived repeatedly as various alternatives have debuted and departed, but the minivan chugs forward, unassailable in its position as the best vehicle for transporting the maximum number of people in the least amount of space with the least amount of fuel. And you go a little lower there, are minivans cool? USA Today moms weigh in. This is a critical segment that isn't going to be displaced. Car makers clearly agree on one thing: the minivan is here to stay for the foreseeable future. In fact, Americans bought more than 500,000 minivans last year, and with appealing all-new choices for 2014, it's looking to be another strong year for this American classic. Now, considering how closely our industry is tied to trucks, let's take a look at the top 20 vehicles sold this year through September. Good news for the RV industry, as 3 of the top 4 are trucks. That's great. But let's take a closer look at these numbers, and what do we see? 17 of the top 20 are not trucks, but they are rather cars, crossovers, SUVs, and minivans. Did you know that out of the more than 12 million new vehicles sold thus far this year, only 1.6 million of them were trucks? That means that passenger cars, minivans, crossovers, and SUVs account for more than 85% of all vehicles sold. So again, with the 85% of our industry's units being towables, and the vast majority of those towables requiring large trucks to pull them, we just had to ask, why aren't more RV manufacturers designing and building units that will be able to be towed by vehicles in this much larger segment of the automotive market? But even now, 10 years plus since Live and Light started, where do all of the RV manufacturers continue to focus all of their energies and products? In that small sliver of 15% of all vehicles sold. But if you look closely, there is one RV manufacturer who is entirely focused on that large sliver of the pie. Live and Light Recreational Vehicles. And today, I'm here to help you understand why. Why did we decide to go after the automotive market when everyone else was running after trucks? Why did we decide to make such a risky leap and leave a proven, profitable segment of the market? Because the segment of the market that Live and Light intentionally focused on is not just a similar small pond, but it is a virtual ocean of potential buyers. And do you know what happens when you go from competing against everyone else in your market for the same customers, and you start to offer RVs that no one else has to customers that no one else is going after? You make money, and a lot of it at that. So why should you care about all those people driving smaller, more fuel-efficient vehicles that outsell trucks nearly 6-1? Because they can tow. And because they can tow, we want to sell them campers. Out of this 85% of all vehicle buyers, one of the most popular types of vehicles that are being purchased today is a crossover model. The great news about that, the automotive industry is building their crossovers with nice towing capacities. Let's run through some of them. The Ford Flex can tow 4,500 pounds. The Mercedes M-Class can tow 4,600 pounds. The GMC Acadia can tow 5,200 pounds. The Acura MDX can tow 5,000 pounds. BMW X5 can tow 6,000 pounds, while the Dodge Nitro can tow 5,000 pounds. Toyota Highlander comes in at 5,000 pounds, while the Toyota Venza, a much smaller vehicle, can still tow 3,500 pounds. The Audi Q5 can tow 4,400 pounds, while the Subaru Outback can tow 3,500 pounds. Cadillac SRX can also tow 3,500 pounds, as can the Dodge Journey. This list just keeps going on and on. There are more than 90 different crossover models on the market, and this segment of the market just keeps growing. Because Live and Light is focused on the automotive market, we have designed and built more than 30 different campers that these fuel-efficient vehicles can tow, including a number of enclosed travel trailers and toy haulers. Now let's talk about some tough facts for a minute. Most RV dealers are fighting for the same customers, large truck owners and large SUV owners. And many face the additional challenge that they are selling basically the same products at basically the same price, which is magnified when you throw in the fact that some of their competitors are carrying sister products made by their own manufacturer. Look at this fact. Of the top 45 traditionally built travel trailers sold on the market, 19 are made by Thor, 12 are made by Forest River, and 5 are made by Jayco. That's 36 of the top 45 travel trailers on the market controlled by just 3 manufacturers. Of the top 45 traditionally built fifth wheels sold, 21 are made by Thor, 14 are made by Forest River. That's 35 of the top 45 made by just 2 manufacturers. Now, yes, technically, Live and Light is part of Thor now, but we are a separately run division, and quite frankly, they purchased us specifically for the reasons that we're talking about in this presentation, mainly diversification for RV dealers. And with those facts in mind, you have to know that selling sister products in today's market means decreased profitability for dealers. So what can you do? Think outside the box and intentionally diversify. Go after customers that other dealers are overlooking with products that no one else has. And while this seems like a no-brainer, quit leaving 85% of potential customers behind. Offer campers and RVs that these vehicles can tow. Now, I want to explain why diversifying your product offerings so that you reach into those 85% of potential buyers truly does represent an ocean of potential buyers for RV dealers. Remember the 340,000, the number of RVs that are going to be sold this year? What if I told you that there is a potential market that dwarfs that number by about 150 to 1? And what if I told you that that market already loves to go camping, but they just don't happen to own a camper yet? The Outdoor Association reports annually on the number of people who go tent camping each year, whether it's at local campgrounds, state parks, national parks, remote areas, even backyards. These people love the outdoors and they value spending quality time with their kids. And how many of these people went tent camping on the ground last year? 44 million. I'm going to say that again. 44 million. Now, where did all these tent campers come from? They came from families that were tired of the modern vacation with hotels and flights and crowded destinations, all while standing in line. These are the types of images they sell people on for family vacation fun. But this is the reality that they don't talk about. Lines at the airport. Lines to get a rental car. Hotel check-in lines. And when you do finally reach your supposed family fun destination, there are more lines. And they're long lines. Lines for everything. There are even lines to get into lines. But these 44 million campers, they tend to avoid lines. They just want to slow down and spend quality time together with their kids. These are the families that the RV industry has largely overlooked. Think about it. Traditionally built RVs continue to just keep getting bigger and bigger with more and more amenities and more TVs. But I'm here to tell you that the vast majority of these 44 million campers are doing their best to get their kids away from TVs and away from video games. TravelScope tells us that typical campers went on 5 camping trips during the year, traveling an average of 191 miles from their homes to the campgrounds or other destination. Campers included friends on their trips 70% of the time, and the favorite activity to participate in while on a camping trip is hiking. Now, does that sound like an RV buyer who frequents your sales lot every weekend? No. Typical campers are not looking to purchase large RVs with flat-screen TVs and residential amenities. They just want to get outside, enjoy nature, and spend some quality time with their family and friends. Statistics tell us that 142 million Americans participated in outdoor recreation last year. Their number one activity? Hiking. Again, the same number one activity as those 44 million tent campers. Also liked hiking. Getting outdoors, not standing in line, but going somewhere, anywhere, together. They have discovered the value of a family vacation should be measured by the quality time they get with their kids, not on the quality of the amenities of some camper. Not to mention, when their kids do get outside, they discovered that they loved it. Surveys tell us that not only do they like to hike, but they also like to bike. And they like to go fishing. And they like to go kayaking or canoeing. They understand that camping is not about the vehicle that you use to get there or sleep in. It's about sitting around the campfire at night, telling stories. It's about making s'mores with your kids. It's about making memories, lasting memories. And I'm telling you, the RV industry has forgotten that. I truly believe it. And it's represented in the fact that the vast majority of manufacturers and dealers continue to be focused only on those who drive larger trucks and larger SUVs. Now, while these 44 million potential customers who already love to go camping are neglected by the product offerings of most RV dealerships, you will see that these people will likely never own a truck. The last census report gave us a little bit of insight into what these families are thinking. The last census report shows that Generation Y, that's ages 24 to 45, want to spend more time with their kids than their parents spent with them. And they're actually willing to take a lesser paying job in order to spend more time with their children. Now, what does that mean for you as an RV dealer? It means this generation is serious about spending quality time with their kids. And when you combine that fact with the fact that they are 6 times more likely to drive a smaller, fuel-efficient vehicle than a large truck or SUV, and you can clearly see that our industry needs to start considering this ocean of potential buyers and offer them smaller, ultra-lightweight campers that they can tow with their current family vehicle no matter how small it is. Over the last 5 or 6 years, there's been a pretty sizable shift by the big 3 automakers towards making smaller, more fuel-efficient vehicles in order to keep up with the foreign car makers who were stealing market share at the time. Experts chided them for being so truck-centric, and one industry expert warned that the big 3 are going to have to figure out how to be competitive outside of pickup trucks. Well, that is exactly what they have done. They have retooled a number of former truck and large SUV plants to now build smaller, more fuel-efficient vehicles, such as the crossovers. What I want you to think about is, if that is true, that the big 3 are going to have to figure out how to be more competitive outside of pickup trucks, doesn't it make sense that RV dealers are going to have to do the same thing? Figure out how to be competitive outside of pickup trucks? No matter the economy or the gas prices, though, the long-term good news is this: families continue to go camping. In fact, during the recession, camping reservations amongst tent campers went up every year as families sought out more affordable ways to spend quality time together and enjoy the outdoors. Look at this quote. 50% of those renting campsites were going without electrical hookups. Why? Because they don't need electrical power to have fun. They are campers. They are there to go camping. This is the specific demographic that Live and Light builds campers for. No, they are not your typical RV customer. They rarely go to RV shows or visit RV dealers' lots because, again, most RV dealers don't even offer something they can tow. But we have found a great business here in harvesting buyers out of this demographic, and it continues to grow each year. These campers don't care about flat-screen TVs or ice makers, and honestly, they would laugh if they saw some of the fake fireplaces that are so popular amongst RVers today because they have a real fire that they sit around. They're going to campgrounds where they have all kinds of fun activities to do during the day, a number of which are situated around lakes, or they may feature swimming pools or kids' water worlds. And remember, again, there are 44 million of them. They represent a segment of the market which our industry has simply overlooked and neglected, but one that I believe is critical to the long-term health of our industry, and that is young families who drive cars, minivans, and crossovers. They love to camp and share the outdoor activities with their kids, but at the end of the day, they do share a common complaint, and that is the ground is hard. Can you get me off the ground? So they are open to considering an RV, but only if it's smaller and that they can tow it with their current vehicle. They don't mind that it doesn't have all the bells and whistles of a lot of today's modern RVs. The key element is they need to be able to pull it with their current family vehicle. And with 17 of the top 20 vehicles sold every day not being trucks, isn't it time that your dealership intentionally targeted this demographic of buyer by offering a line of ultra-lightweight campers designed specifically for these families that they can tow? Remember Steve Jobs' quote about being much better? I can tell you that from day one, Live and Light's goal has been to build a much better camper. And by all accounts, our generational campers have accomplished that. What is a generational camper, you ask? It's one that you will use, and when your kids grow up, they will use it, and when your grandkids are around, they have a good shot at using it. Now, how can we claim that? Because it's true. We build a much better camper. While others build their campers out of steel, which eventually rusts, or they build it out of wood, which rots, Live and Light builds our unique campers out of all aluminum and composites. A lot of our lines do not contain even a splinter of wood. And as an added bonus, that results in our campers weighing only 60% of the competition, which means they can be towed by much smaller, fuel-efficient vehicles. Here is a 19-foot travel trailer with 2 axles, and it weighs a whopping 2,750 pounds. That's much better than our competition. And because we keep it simple, that means it's much more simple for our dealers as well. For example, our entry-level tent campers, the most basic unit on the market, designed specifically for those 44 million tent campers, has a less than 0.1% warranty record after 12 years in production. That's much better than our competition. Going into our 5th year of production of enclosed travel trailers with full systems, we have had less than 0.8% warranty expenses. That's much better than our competition. It all goes back to our welded, bolted, and screwed together superstructure. Live and Light does not own a staple gun, because we wouldn't do this to you. Look at all that wood, held together mostly by staples. Live and Light frames are made of tubular aluminum, which will never rust. Our flooring is aluminum tongue and groove decking that is welded into place like the rest of the unit. It will never flex, it will never sag, it will never rot. Much better than our competition. The result is, while traveling down the road and taking all the bumps and twists, Live and Light units hold together, while most of those that are made of wood that's held together with staples and nail guns will start to loosen up and eventually come apart. While that may be great for your service department, it's terrible for your customers. Everything we build at Live and Light, from travel trailers to tent campers, from truck campers to toy haulers, even our half-ton towable fifth wheels with custom frame, it just makes sense. These two trailers are both going to be bouncing and vibrating down the same roads, but while one will vibrate apart, the other, screwed and welded together, will stay strong and intact. The result is the best built RV construction on the planet and campers that weigh approximately 60% of the competition, which means they can be towed by a much wider range of vehicles. Live and Light travel trailers were recently ranked number 1 in the ultra-lightweight category by a leading independent publication in the P or premium category. The next category down, the AA, stands for above average. How did they come up with these rankings? They interviewed customers and they interviewed dealers for their feedback. And yes, Live and Light is proud of that number 1 ranking. So Live and Light is different, but in a good way. When you intentionally think outside of the box, your products will attract attention. And Live and Light attracts an unbelievable amount of attention from consumers all over the world. It's incredibly disproportionate to our size as a company. Live and Light's website is the hub for ultra-lightweight RVing. It attracts nearly 4,000 unique visitors a day. Of those 4,000 visitors, more than 1,000 of them each and every day type in their zip code asking where they can find a Live and Light dealer. Our top market gets more than 38 zip code inquiries every day asking where they can see a Live and Light product. We have more than 80 markets in the country that get 1,000 or more zip code inquiries every year. And we have more than 150 markets that get at least one zip code inquiry each and every day. That's 30 a month, 365 a year, asking where they can see a Live and Light camper in person. How popular is our website? We have more than 100 Google number 1 rankings for search terms, including everything lightweight, ultra lightweight, aluminum ultra lightweight, and most importantly, even generic terms such as lightweight camper and lightweight campers. Live and Light, this little company located in Waukerusa, Indiana, is number 1 on Google for lightweight camper and lightweight campers. Not Thor, not Forest River, not Jayco, not companies that have been doing it for 50 years, but a company that's been doing it right in lightweights for 10 years. And it's not because we buy ads, because we don't. This is all consumer interest driven. In fact, even though we've only been doing fifth wheels for about 6 months now, we are ranked in the top 3. It's amazing how many people are looking for ultra lightweight products, and it's even more amazing that Live and Light is attracting as much attention as we do. When you're unique and much better, you get to enjoy partnerships with some of the best known companies on the planet. Now comes the most noteworthy partnership Live and Light has ever had the privilege of being a part of. Live and Light is teaming up with Ford Motor Company to produce a full line of Ford-built Ford Tough recreational vehicles. From truck campers to travel trailers, toy haulers, fifth wheels, and tent campers, we are building a line that is going to carry the Ford emblem and be available through our RV dealerships, a name that is synonymous with the number one selling truck in America, in fact, the number one selling vehicle overall in America for 23 years running, the F-150. And all this is in conjunction with the introduction of Ford's all-new aluminum-bodied F-150. It is a partnership made for success. So I'm going to encourage you to think outside the box and intentionally diversify your product offerings with Living Light. And take the leap into the ocean of potential RV buyers and become the ultra lightweight camping specialist in your region by carrying Living Light's full line of campers designed and built especially for a unique demographic of buyer that odds are you are not effectively reaching right now. Thank you for watching this presentation. If you would like any more information on Living Light's unique lineup of all aluminum and composite built RVs, visit the website or call the number listed below.